Hello Club Sporters and welcome back to AJ Club Sport. So it's a beautiful day today because I have something very interesting to talk to you about regarding the GR Yaris brakes, and this is brake seals, O-rings and pistons. So if you have not already, and I know that many people view without subscribing, please hit the subscribe button. And it's free, and if you want to support, there are also memberships, and we will be supporting you with much more and more investments, as you see in the quality of video, audio, and outings and interviews and all of that. So this means a lot because this is just a big expense of money and time on my side, so please support if you may. So getting just into it. Now, I got a lot of reports from around the world of people having brake seizures. What do I mean? Basically, people going from the state where the brakes are working to losing their brakes, mainly on track. This happens why? This happens mainly because, as we already said in the other brake videos, heat becomes too much. You have to think in relation to, for example, race cars, that in fact we are driving on the track a street car that typically is heavier than the stock, the racing car, and it has less brake cooling. Also, the brakes are street brakes and not full race brake calipers, discs and pads. Also the oils, the seals, the pistons, everything is in there, and it is different. There is a reason why it is different. So I want to say, first of all, GR Yaris has a very competent brake setup as stock, and it does work. And as stock, none of everything in this video should be a problem if you've got a minimum understanding of how to use your brakes in order not to overheat them. Still, something could come out if you are pushing the car on a full stock car on tracks that are very, very demanding on brakes. And let's see exactly what happens in these cases. So, BCB Brake were so kind to send me some stock brake pistons from other GRs that they have worked on, and this is a stock brake piston. The piston has an O-ring seal, like so, that basically installs in the rear part of it, and this part here is facing the rear of the caliper, and this part here is facing the brake pad. So this seal is what actually retains the liquid that is applying pressure from this side towards the piston, and it will not let this liquid go, let's say, through it, and therefore have loss of pressure. Since this is rubber, what happens is that when it exceeds a temperature around 90 degrees Celsius, it starts becoming more elastic and losing its properties. And then after that, it actually hardens and it breaks and it ruins. This is an actual real seal from a real caliper that was seized. And it blocked and it broke, and this is how it became. You see, it does not have the shape anymore. So in this specific case, the piston did not bind to the caliper, because we can see the material finish is still okay, but also the dust boot that is from this same car is completely blown out, once again because of the temperature. So the first solution for this is having higher performing materials that do not have this issue. So in this case, BCB Brake came out with silicone dust boots, and these silicone dust boots have a resistance to high temperatures up to 250 degrees Celsius. Therefore, while replacing with these dust boots, now we're looking at the rear one. We're looking with the front one here and the rear one here, but is not the point. The point is that these will resist to the extreme temperatures. Another thing is that now I can't show you because this one is too destroyed, but actually the dust boots profile sits flush with the caliper internal. And whilst the stock ones sit a bit further out like this, and they tend to touch the back plate on the brake pad. This again making temperatures go much further up. And this is just to allow the movement of the piston itself. Now we have the front piston and the rear seal. I can show you the front seal. The dust boot, not a problem. Here we have it. And you see that this one stays true to it in this manner. This is the front one. There you go. And you apply some lubricant to put them on, specific lubricant, and this will slide together like this. And it sits very, very flush, as you see from the profile. Basically, it sits flush with the brake caliper. Therefore, this boot will not touch the back plate of your brake pad at all, and will make all the difference between getting to this state and instead getting home with the car all in one piece. There have been even notable issues of this kind, and one in particular at the Tsukuba circuit with the very famous weekly Moto Trend driver NOOB Knob that was doing a tuner showdown between 3 GR Yarises, and one of these three, that is actually the lightest GR in Japan at the moment, as tuned Japanese EGR. He basically lost completely the brakes at the last hairpin curve before coming back towards the finishing line, and he went just out straight into the rubber tires outside of the track, off the track. And that specific car did not even have a handbrake, so there was nothing the driver could do, because what happened is his seals had gone out in this manner, and there was just nothing to do because there was zero braking force. So for me, this is very, very scary, and now I want to be realistic about things. So I will finish showcasing the product and tell you on what occasions you actually do need this product. So, second point is the pistons themselves. So here I have a piston with a piston seal from BCB Brake, as you may read here. And you may see immediately that the piston has got a slightly different shape outside, with moving the brake seal more inbound, and with these holes that are meant to diminish or reduce or eliminate brake fluid cavitation. And this is what these are for. But there is also a big design difference. If you look at the same side from the rear, you will see that the BCB piston has got a much shallower division on this side, and this in turn will keep the brake fluid further away from your pads. Although this steel material will obviously transmit heat, it will be much further away from what it is in the stock that goes all the way to attaching to the plate on the other side. And here we come to the contact patch. So on the stock piston, what happens is you do have this surface that comes out at the center. Therefore, the pressure that will be made on the brake pad itself will be more centered in this way, more central. Therefore, it will leave the brake pad some space to move in this way. Instead, the BCB unit only will have contact on the external diameter of the piston itself. This means that it will keep the pad more linear because it's contacting and pushing it at a greater diameter outside. This is something you see very frequently on race cars, but you do not see on street cars. So this is a very well designed unit, and this again is an improved material. There you go. Pressure seal that will sit flush and keep the pressure within the caliper and not spilling outside in the cylinder this piston moves in and onto your brake system, and also possibly catching fire. So this is how this works. I am very impressed by the engineering here and the workmanship they have done on these pistons. Very, very nice piece of kit. And once more, this could seem redundant, but it isn't. Actually, these are the brake bleeders. So these brake bleeding inserts, once again, are made of steel instead of aluminum. And this helps with the change of material for them not to bond into the caliper themselves. Maybe if you've been handy and you've been working around in the workshop or in your garage trying to bleed your brakes, you will see that sometimes if you've seen a lot of heat, it will be very difficult to open these bleeders. And not only on the GR, this in general for performance cars and normal cars. And therefore using steel bleeders once more will change and improve this. So the full kit is here with all the parts needed, front and rear. And we've got all the pistons. These are the 8 pistons for the front and the pistons for the rear. Just, it means nothing in reality, but just to know, just for information to be complete, I'm going to put these on the scale. So the stock front piston weighs in at 60 grams, and their piston weighs in 107 grams. So it will have a little bit more of inertia and also more power to dissipate heat throughout itself. So now, coming to us, in what occasions do you actually need to install a kit like this one? You will need to install a kit like this one or consider its installation in case that you are tracking the car a lot, but first of all, that you have upped the braking power of the car. So let's say you have a stock GR Yaris, you will not have to worry about this. But let's say from your stock GR Yaris, you have upgraded your brake pads with competition type brake pads. In this case, you do have to start worrying about heat, cooling, and as a result, these issues. Therefore, this can be a solution that will give you a lot of peace of mind in change. We've already discussed in the likes of which brake pads, and the fact that the more the brake pads are aggressive, the more heat they generate. And therefore, we have discussed about the discs and which discs to choose. You will see the videos in the channel, and I'll try to link them up here. And on the other hand, therefore, you have to think that if you are also using the car through closed roads and real rally stages, using a lot of left foot braking, or on the other hand, you are tracking the car a lot on tracks that are demanding on brakes, like for example Hockenheim or for example Monza, where you have repeated brakes from over 200 kilometers per hour to very, very slow speeds. In this case, this is a kit you can really consider purchasing from BCB Brake. These guys have been very, very nice. They had contacted me and they sent me this kit. I will install it in my car, but I will do this as soon as the pads, I changed very recently, will be worn out. Therefore, there will be an install video and a test video in the car. For correctness, I have not paid for this kit, but on the other hand, I want you to know that I am, as always, showing you things using my own brain and interfacing with people that work either at Toyota or top level of motorsports the same way I have before in my life. And I would like to make sure that any haters be happy now knowing that this is a legitimate review, because I do not get money in change of what I do. Actually, I invest a lot of money and time to bring you this content. So, upon that note, thank you very much for following me, and I'm going to talk to you in the next days with something else new and cool. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.